Hello everyone, welcome to the next episode on SAP UI5 and Fiori training. In the last episode, we talked about basics of HTML5. In today's session, we'll start and discuss about CSS. What exactly CSS is all about? How can we use CSS to prettify and beautify our HTML content which we created? In the last session, we saw when we work with HTML5, HTML5 gives you a static web page. In that static web page, there is no formatting which HTML does for us. You cannot control the different coloring and styling properties with core HTML. You can only work with basic HTML. As a result of that HTML, you can only also see a crude raw form of an HTML page. Is literally zero styling, zero formatting, which you can do with HTML. And that is the reason why CSS was introduced. So before CSS, there was another technique which we used to use, and that technique was really not so effective. And that was the reason there was a new generation of styling called CSS was introduced. Let's go ahead and discuss the disadvantage of an HTML based styling. So in old days, when HTML was started, people wanted to do more styling, and that more styling was done with the help of HTML tag itself. HTML tags were used to provide styling for the content. So imagine if I want to say I love India. So if I have a paragraph and then I say I love India, and if I want to do styling in this particular paragraph, suppose I want to show I into a different style. I want to say paragraph and I'll say I, and then I'll here italics because I want to display I in italics, and I want to show I in red color, so I have to say I font tag, and then I can say, or maybe color tag, and I would say equals to value equals to red, and then just in this tag here the color tag which we created, and then I love, if I want love to be in a blue color, so I again use a color tag, value equals to blue, and then I say love, and then at the end of the color tag I want the color to be, or the love to be in the bolder, again the B tag, and then just end the B tag. Now you see guys, with this small sentence, how difficult it is to manage these tags. Look at here, complexity of manage. And imagine if you have a whole length of a big HTML page, how complicated and cumbersome it becomes for you to do tag based styling. So this was the main challenge working with HTML. This kind of styling using HTML tags. So HTML tag based styling became a nightmare for developers. It is very laborious and error prone. Right? If you just do a small mistake in a closing tag and beginning tag, your entire style gets disturbed. There is no reuse. Yes, you see there is no reuse. Every character, every small word which you have has to have a different style tag, which is very dirty. Your HTML code and style code is merged together, makes it more difficult for somebody to read the text which you have. And that is the reason CSS was introduced. CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheet. Once again, browser directly understands CSS. Absolutely. Browser directly understands CSS. You don't need anything else. So browser actually understands these three things directly. Which are all those three things? HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. These three things which browser directly understand. Cascading style sheet. It is used to format and style and beautify the HTML documents, or you can call it as content or HTML page, whatever you call it as, more or less they are same thing. So it is used to style, beautify the HTML document, HTML content. How CSS should be applied? This is the next question comes in mind. How can we apply CSS? It's very easy to apply CSS. You can apply CSS with three ways. The first option, the first technique to apply CSS is inline CSS. Second comes is internal CSS, and third comes is external CSS. These are all the three ways we can apply CSS on HTML elements. First comes is inline CSS. Then we apply CSS on exact HTML element level. This is done by a style property. Example, if you want to see that, how does it look like? You will have a tag, some HTML tag name. You will use a style property. Okay, you will be using a style property equals to some value. This is what you will be using. So inside this you will have style property name, property value, semicolon property name, property value, and so on. Likewise, you will have style name, style property name, property value, property name, property value, like that. Okay, that is how it looks. The tag name, the style. Clear everyone? That is called inline style. Once again, if you see the disadvantage of inline style, it is better, it is separated the style code in a style tag. That way it is better as compared to the last one. But again, no reuse. It is applied only to that particular tag name, particular element. We'll see an example, don't worry, for inline style. So if I want to show an example, let's go back to our previous one. And I'm just going to create another HTML page for demonstration purpose. I'm going to copy and paste this complete HTML, because now you can do copy paste of HTML at least, because we are comfortable to speed up. I can say my css.html, another CSS I'm creating, and I just paste it complete stuff which we have. I'm just removing the below content, just keeping the 3 box content which we have. That's all I'm keeping. And you can see I have 3 boxes, and these 3 boxes include all my content. Now guys, to run this particular HTML5, now I have 2 HTML files as my project. What do I do to run this particular HTML? Anybody? We saw that in last two classes also. What do I do if I have multiple HTML to run? Perfect answer. Go to run configuration. Right click, run configuration, and modify your run configuration and mention that I want to run a different file, which is my css.html. Save and run. That's how you're going to execute. You can see it coming up on your UI. Cool guys, cool. Thank you. So let's come here, and I can see we have got our first set of content. And now suppose I want to change the background color of my entire page. Yeah, so the background color of entire page is represented by your body of HTML. So I want to apply style at body level. I can say style equals to, I can say background hyphen color property equals to symbol here is colon actually. Yeah, colon, and I want to say aqua color I want. Yeah, so I want to apply a background color change on the body. Body means entire HTML content, and it's going to be an aqua color. Let's come back, refresh the page, and voila, you can see the complete content has been changed to aqua color. Here everybody, the complete content of the body has been, that's the beauty. That is what style is. And which type of style it is? Anybody? What is the way to apply this style? Which is the technique? It is inline. You see, it's in the line of the tag itself. Yeah, it is inline tag. Now suppose I want to change the color for my heading, HTML5 heading. I want to change color for my what is HTML5. Yeah, so I come here to this particular div element. You can see here in this div element you have what is HTML5, and now what you're going to do is just come here to the div element and say inline style equals to my color equals to red. Yeah, I want my color of this element to be red. Save this. Let's come on the right side, and can you see the color of the title is being changed to the red color? Yes, correct. So that's what happened. System has changed the color of the HTML title, or the title of my box is to red. But guys, we always want to design a UI with consistent look and feel. Yeah, consistent. So in order to make it consistent, this title and this title should also be consistent look. What does it mean? They also has to look similar to what is the first one, which means they also need red color. So what I do is I go back, and now I apply a style equals to color equals to red here. And now I come back here and I'll say style equals to color equals to red. Yeah, so that's what I do. So now I come back on the top and refresh, and you can see the color has been changed. Absolutely no problem. Perfect. But can anybody tell me, if I want this color of the title to be in the blue color now, how many places I have to change? How many places I have to change if I want my title color now to be blue color? Perfect answer. Sudeep has got it first. 3 places. You can see we have 3 lines, and correspondingly 3 places I have to go and make this change to be able to make the color change to blue, right? 3 different places you got to modify. This is a big disadvantage, isn't it? Don't you think inline style has a disadvantage here? Because you have to change at 3 places, and then correspondingly it will change in all 3 places. No reuse. Absolutely right, Sudeep. You understood the concept. Thank you so much, Sudeep. No reuse. Here you have to modify at multiple places to make it work accordingly. That is the disadvantage of it. So now what I'm going to do is, instead of red, we're going to change it to a different color. But 3 different places we got to modify. How do we do that? So let's come back, and we need some better way to do that, and that's exactly your internal style is. Internal style can be applied at the entire page level, all the multiple elements it can target. So internal style is always kept at the page level. Code is kept at the page level, hence it is reusable. Code is kept at page level, hence it is reused. Okay, code is kept at the page level, hence this particular code is reused, guys. You can reuse the code actually. Okay, you can perfectly reuse the code, and you can target one or multiple elements. So how do we do that? Is we use something called a special tag at the header level called style tag. This is a new tag I'm introducing. This is a tag you got to use to be able to apply the style, guys. Okay, let's move this external style to the next page. You can move it here. Yeah. Okay, so this is what you got to use, and inside this, watch out, very important, you write select colon curly braces, and now here you got to write your selector. So you can say property name, property value. You can say property name, property value. Like this, you can give your properties. This is the tag which you typically put in the header. Typically, you can put in header. You can put in body also, but right standard is put it in header and put a selector, property name, property value, all the properties and property value. Now you must be wondering, Anubhav, what is this selector? ये selector क्या है? क्या है ये selector? What is this selector, man? This selector is very easy to understand. Let's understand what is this selector. So selector means which elements you want to target. Selector means which element you want to target. Yeah. So first option is you can target a single element. So anybody, how can you identify a single HTML element on the page? Anybody, do you remember? I told you in the last class, what is that makes a single element identifiable? What property? Perfect answer. You can go by ID. ID is unique throughout the entire page. Correct answer. So you can use hashtag ID to mention that I want to apply CSS based on single element whose ID is known. That is ID based style. It exactly targets that single element. Yeah, it exactly targets that single element. The another option is group of elements. So multiple elements. So multiple elements, again you can use tag name. So it will target all elements on the page with that tag. And then you can use also dot class name to target all elements with that classification. Let's see. I can come back, and now probably what I'll do is I'll create another heading below. I'm just creating an H3 tag once more. So I'm just gonna create quickly an H3 tag. Yeah, and I'll say personal details. And I'll say here a label, and I can say first name, then say input. Can give an ID this time to this input field, FN, and I can add a label, last name, and I can add an input again with an ID, let's say last name, LN. Yeah, that's all we can do, guys. You can see we have added here personal detail, first name and last name. Now, watch out. What do we do? So now what we do is we are going to use, not going to use the inline style. So I'm going to remove this inline style code. Removing that up. And then what I'm going to do is I want to apply style in all three H3 elements. See, all three H3 elements I want to apply style. So I come on the top in the header, and as usual, as we just saw the syntax, we add a style tag, line by line, step by step, no copy paste of code, style tag, and I'll say all my H3 tags on the page. Okay. So first refresh, you see there is this personal detail, there is this element, very nice. Now I say H3, which means all my elements with H3 tag name should be affected. Curly braces, that's my selector, curly braces, and I say color. Please change the color of all of them to blue. Come back, refresh. Voila! Can you see the color of all three elements in one shot? In one shot, 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 in one shot has been changed in one shot for all the elements it's targeting. It's complete reuse, guys, complete reuse. Yeah. So how many places you have to make a change if you want to change the color for those elements now? Only one place. Perfect example of reuse. Clear, everybody? That's the beauty of internal style. But there is a disadvantage. You see, it has also affected my personal detail. Personal detail is actually not the one which belongs to this category, right? It's not a title. It's not a title of an abbreviation, right? It has affected my personal detail also. Why? Because personal detail also has a tag name called H3. That is the reason it's behaving correct. But for me, functionally, when I'm designing my website, I've seen that it affected this also. What do we do to avoid this effect? That is why we go with div element and targets and classify the elements which belongs to same group. That's why guys we use div tag with a class name. Now you see only my H3 tags which are there for abbreviation has a classification box title. Can you see a classification box title here? Here surrounded with a div. Do you see a surrounded div with box title here with personal detail? Nahi na? Ye nahi hai. It is not in that group of element. It's not the family. These are families. These are part of family. So that's why we go div element with classification to actually use styling in effective way to target certain group of elements which belongs to same family. Clear everybody? Hope in today's class it is more clear for you why we use div tag with class name. The reason is to group the similar elements with same family together. Yeah. Hope it is clear everybody. You can answer in chat window why we use div tag. And now I will do style based on class name. So how does the system know? If I come here and replace simply this box title, does system know that this is a class name? Does system know that this is a class name? Anybody? Does system know that this is a class name? Does system know this is a class name? No, system will not know, guys. System will not know that it's a class name actually. If you refresh, nothing will happen. You see, nothing is happening. To tell the system that this is not tag name, this is a class name, you must add a dot. Yeah, to tell the system that this is not this tag name, this is actually the class name, you have to put a dot. Dot indicates that whatever I'm writing next is actually a class name. Here everybody, the dot is indicating whatever I'm writing, please treat that as a class name. I hope it's clear. That's your new selector. And now refresh and see the magic. Wow, amazing. You can see now it only affected the elements which belongs to same class. Wow, you see it is only affecting the elements with a group of families. It is not affecting other elements. That is the reason we use div elements with class name. I hope it is clear with everybody. That is the reason we use div element with class name, so that now you see your personal detail is not affected by that style. This is the power of div element with a class name. It's purely used with the purpose of styling. Now you can also do it based on box description. Suppose I want to change box description. So let's come back. I'll say dot my box description curly braces, and I can now write inside. Maybe I want to change the background from color equals to yellow. Save this. Boom, there you go. You can see the background color for all three box content area. The box content area, the box description area has been changed to yellow color. Wow, superb. I want to change the width. Maybe I want to change the width to 200 pixels. And I want to also change the width of the box title also 200 pixels. Save this. Let's come back, refresh. And voila, you can see each of my box description and box title is limited in 200 pixel width. But do you think now I need this 200 pixel at two places? No guys, you can actually do it at parent level, this box level. ये दोनों का parent है. This particular box is the parent for both of them. So it's better to apply the common styling which you're doing at child element level, do it at parent level. Remove this and apply it at the main box level. Just say main box मेरा 200 width का है, 200 pixels. That's it guys, this is what you got to do. just do that at the box level, not at individual level. Better do it at the box level. Clear everybody? What is the need of having print? And now see it produces same result. I don't have to do this width at two different places. One single place, it does the magic for me. Superb. So that's about squeezing it up. Now, what about I want to, you can see now guys, there's another amazing thing. I want to get a border around. So I can come for the main box. Please get me a border for the main box. I can say border property. And I can say 1 pixel solid black border. Save this. Let's refresh. And you can see, wow, there is a 1 pixel solid black color border around each of the element. Now you must be wondering, Anubhav, how come this border property is so long? What role it controls? It can control multiple things, 3 things in fact. The first thing is the size of the border. So if I say 10 pixel solid black, watch out. It makes the border width, density of the border is 10 pixels. The second is solid. If I want not a solid border, I want a dashed border or dotted border, I can do dotted border, and now see it becomes a dotted. Wow, how beautiful it looks. Yeah, this is a festival season, and don't you think it looks like lights? Small sparkling little lights? Yes, exactly. That's my dotted border. I want to change the color of the border. I want to make it a red color dotted border. Let's do that up and refresh. And you can see how beautiful it looks. That's how they design websites, guys. During Diwali, during Christmas, during festival time, they design the websites with these kind of lights. They just add dotted border with high density and a different color and looks beautiful. Yeah, that's how you can control the border property. 3 properties. It's a mix up of, so I can maybe reduce this down back to 1 pixel, and you see 1 pixel dotted red border. I want to bring it back to solid red border. So let's make a solid red border, or maybe solid black border. Just bring it up and refresh, and now you can see how does it look. The next one, I want to also bring a border around the box title. So let's add a border here. 1 pixel solid black, and refresh. You'll see now looks much better with a box title and box below the box area. Yeah, so that's how it looks. Now what I want next is I want to reduce the height of the area, the text area. So I will just come here, say height, maybe just want it as 250 pixels. So let's do that up, and now you can see, oops, much actually. So let's make it like 60 pixels. Should be good for us. Yeah, looks better, 60 pixels. And similarly, let's also reduce the height for the above one. So just gonna maybe just do that for this one as well. So height, and maybe I just want it as 30 pixels. So make it look sleek. So you can see, oops, ज़्यादा हो गया. Make it 50. Yeah, looks better. So there are 3 boxes now, and you can see how do they look like. So maybe this may make it 80. Yeah, 3 boxes, and you see these are how they look like. So all my 3 boxes are now created, and you see earlier they were looking like simple text, and now they look like, you know, simple boxes. Now guys, what you see, observe here, you have designed a page, and there are 3 back-to-back boxes here, right? There are 3 boxes, one for HTML, one for CSS, and one for JS. You have got 3 boxes actually. Now what I want is, there is a lot of empty space here, right? Lot of empty space here on the page. I want my this box, CSS box, to adjust in this empty space, and I want my JS box to also adjust in this empty space. This is what I want. Can we do that? Anybody? Does it make sense to adjust and fill in this empty space and move these boxes here? Right? Does it make sense to move? Do you want me to move these boxes here? Probably yes. So now tell me, which side of the page these boxes should be moved? Which side of the page? In the mathematics we used to do left hand side versus right hand side, right? So which side of the page do you think this CSS box is moving? Which side of the page the CSS box is moving? Which side? Left side, guys, not right side. Watch out, the page, look at the from the page perspective. Don't look at from the HTML box perspective. Look at from the page perspective. Can you tell me now, from the page perspective, which side of the page this CSS box needs to be moved? From the page perspective, which side your page should be, which side of from the page perspective your box needs to be moved? You can type your answer in the chat window. You can type here, yes, Geeta is right this time. It should be on the left hand side of the page. And that's where another powerful property which comes into the picture, it's called float property. Okay, it's called float property. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell the box, I'm say, please float my whole box. Float my whole box on the left hand side of the page. Okay, left hand side of the page and refresh. Voila, there you go. You can see if there is a space on the right side of the left side of the page left out, system moves your box automatically. But you see, guys, the problem, it's also moving our personal details section. The moment you apply float, it is applied from top to bottom, from that particular element towards the last element of the page. Yeah, it applies on the entire page. So we don't want our personal element also to float. We want to kill that float. So I'm just going to come back and add a dummy element. So just add a simple div with the inline style saying that clear the left side. Please don't float any element after this div element onwards. So clear the left side. Don't float anything afterwards. That's what just a dummy element I'm adding. Save this up. And I'll see at least the floating stuff for the personal details. So personal details is now moved down, but at least we want to float our boxes. Now see, guys, the beauty here. The beauty here. Now let me expand. Watch out, guys. Let me expand or squeeze the page. Let me squeeze the page. So I'm squeezing the page. Can you see all my boxes are now moved down automatically? And now let me expand the page width. So I'm making the page width bigger, and you see one box gone on top. And let me make it full page screen, and you see all three boxes are in a line. So more the space is available on the left side, automatically my boxes are moved on top. So more the page has a space, more the boxes will move towards the left hand side automatically. Now can you tell me, guys, in which scenario you will have this, where screen width is this much smaller, little bigger, and screen width is full? What do you think, in which cases you have a small screen width, a little bigger, and then a more bigger screen width? Yes, perfect answer. Geeta has got it right once again. Thank you, Geeta. It's in mobile, tablet, and desktop. Madhu also got it right. Your gadget. Santosh also right. Pavan also, you're right. Suresh also right. So all the places where you have gadgets, your small screen in a mobile. So you see, it's automatically adapting itself. So when it makes it to mobile, it looks like this. Automatically it move the content like this. You get a horizontal scroll, a vertical scroll bar. When you work with a tablet, it will look like something this. And when you work with the desktop application, it look like this. So automatically your screen is getting changed. It's getting adapted based on screen size, based on the kind of device you're using. And that's what exactly called what? Responsive web design. Wow, what a concept. Responsive web design. What is it called? Responsive web design, guys. This is called responsive web design. Thanks to CSS and especially the float property, it makes it responsive. Now, guys, this is an interview question, and believe me, today many people come for UI5 interview. I ask this question very often. Only 20% people were able to answer this question correctly today. When I ask what is responsive web design, people say, sir, responsive web design, it's very fast web design. It is very, very fast. It's very fast, sir. Then I say, what is your definition of fast and slow? I have a website. How can you say it is fast and it is slow? How do you measure it? I reject the candidate immediately. I don't even ask UI5 question to that candidate, because I know now his knowledge level or her knowledge level is very good. Sorry, I cannot afford you. You are very expensive for my company. You have a great knowledge. Sorry, I cannot take you in my company. Very difficult to work with you. Responsive web design. Is that a right answer? Interviewer. You can't make a fool of interviewer, man. Can't make a fool of interviewer. If you're thinking you can make a fool of interviewer and get selected, believe me, impossible. That person is sitting there taking your interview already knows what you are talking. You can't make a fool. In fact, you're making a bad impression with wrong answers. With an answer which you're not sure of, you are making yourself actually a dummy out there at front of that person. So be careful when you talk in interview. Your answers has to be concise and precise. That's why I always say, take a print out of this PPT and carry with you. Take a print of this PPT and carry with you. Okay, responsive web design. So web design which adapts itself automatically based on devices, the devices and screen widths. It's called responsive design. Hope you guys will not forget this. If you usually we don't remember also, that's why I always say take a print of my PPT and carry with you during your travel time when you're sitting in cab, bus, wasting your time. Utilize this time to remember these concepts. Very important. If you are writing things in a notebook, you are doing better than that. तब तो आपकी उंगलियों को याद हो जाएगा, उसके बाद तो इम्पॉसिबल है, कोई भुला नहीं पाएगा, कोई भी नहीं भुला पाएगा, कोई कितना भी कोशिश कर ले, आधी रात को भी उठा के पूछ ले, you will be able to tell the definition. It is my guarantee. After you complete this course, if you are writing things in notebook and pen with yourself, you are doing that hard work, nobody can reject you in UI5 interview. My challenge, my hit rate is 98% with students who do hard work with my course. 98% hit rate. 98% they get selected. I have lots of evidences, lots of email from many of my students who come and say, Anubhav, we got selected. Not just one offer, they're taking multiple offers. You can yourself change your life. You can yourself change your life within the same company or not the same company. You can get it in another company pretty easily. Interview cracking is an art. It's very easy. We will learn that art in this course. Answers, the first question, the first thing, your answer has to be precise and concise. Don't try to roll. I am asking what is CSS. You are telling me, Anubhav, CSS is internal CSS, inline CSS and external CSS. Is that an answer for CSS? I asked you what is CSS. You are telling me how to apply CSS. Watch out here. This is the biggest problem. Anubhav, मेरे को सब कुछ आता था. Anubhav, I used to remember everything. Anubhav, you taught a great thing. I used to remember every single question. Every single question what he or she asked me, I knew the answer, Anubhav. But फिर भी select नहीं हुआ. क्यों नहीं select हुआ, guys? The problem is in you. It's not an interviewer. Because the reason is very simple. The requirement, the question was something else. You are answering something else. You have to be a good listener to crack an interview. Yes. क्या बोल दिया मैंने? क्या बोल दिया? You have to be a very good listener to crack an interview. The interviewer is asking you what is CSS. You are answering how to apply CSS. How will you get selected? Tell me. I am also taking so many interviews these days, and the one important parameter to judge a candidate, is the candidate a good listener? Is the candidate a good listener? Is the candidate a good listener? This is one parameter. I'm judging you. When I'm interviewing you, I'm judging you. Are you a good listener? And overall, your cumulative marks on these different parameters, your communication skill, your technical knowledge, are you a good listener? Are you a good speaker? Are you having the required knowledge in the technology? Are you having problem solving capabilities? Are you able to understand the question? These things I'm judging you. And overall score, एक केवल टेक्निकल स्किल से काम नहीं चलेगा, केवल कम्युनिकेशन स्किल से काम नहीं चलेगा. अगर कम्युनिकेशन स्किल से काम चलेगा तो you got to go into the news reporting. There you have to have the communication skill. That is the job profile for you. Only communication skill won't help you. Technical skill also will help you. The understanding also will help you. Problem solving will help you. Puzzles, you should be able to good in analytical problem solving capabilities. You should be good in good listener. If you can't listen the question properly, you can't answer the question properly. He is asking you what is CSS. He's asking you very basic question. The answer is very simple. It is used to apply formatting. It's apply formatter, or it's basically used to format and style and beautify your HTML content. That is the answer. You are saying inline CSS, internal CSS, and external CSS. That's about applying CSS, man. It is not the definition of CSS. Try to be a good listener, guys, if you want to crack an interview. Responsive web design, a design which adapts itself based on the device and screen width automatically. That's called responsive nature of a website. And thanks to CSS, especially the float property, did this magic for us. Yeah. So next question, if interviewer asks, how can you achieve that? So you can say the most important property which we use in CSS to apply this is float property, which helps us doing that. Okay, let's apply some more styling. So I go to the box title and I want now my this content. You can see this content to be in the center. And I say text hyphen property to center. Now one question here in that window from someone. How can we find and about all these properties? Anybody, where can you find these properties which I'm putting here in CSS? Where can you find all these properties which I'm putting here? Where can you find? Where did I learn from? Perfect answer, KS. Perfect answer, Santosh. Perfect answer, Geeta. You are all expert now. W3 school is the place where you got to go and find out these properties. So again, I repeat, whatever properties I'm covering in my course are more than enough for you to go through. You don't need to go additionally. But still, if you have that curiosity, that requirement, you want to understand more in deep, you can go to W3 schools and check those properties there. But more than enough, whatever I'm covering here is more than enough you can continue with. Okay, so now come here, text alignment center. Now let's come back on the right side and watch out. You can see system has automatically aligned your text in the center. You want to change the font. Yeah, you want to change the font. You can come here and say font family. And I can say cursive. And let's come back and refresh. You can see the font looks more cursive. Yeah, for the title. Suppose now I want to change the color for my area, for my text. I can say color property to red. Yellow red combination acha lagta hai, so you can see yellow red, it looks beautiful. I want to make the text in the bolder. I can say text hyphen width, text hyphen, the property name is text hyphen density. Bold. No, it doesn't work. Maybe I have to check. Bold CSS. Check that, and I'll find font weight property. Yes, font weight property. So let's come here, font weight property. And that becomes bolder. Yes, there you go. You can see all the text now looking in bold characters. That's the beauty. That's how you can change the styling, guys. Now let's come and see what else we can do. So now suppose, guys, what I want to do, you see right now the big problem. Can anybody guess the problem here from user point of view? All your boxes are almost touching each and every border, right? Your boxes are touching the border, almost colliding with each other. Correct, guys? That is what is the problem. So how can we get some space between the boxes? This is one bigger problem we have. Okay, so how can we bring some spaces? So for that, now I'm introducing another most important interview question and the topic for CSS. अगर CSS का चैप्टर खुला इंटरव्यू में, तो ये क्वेश्चन पक्का आना है. एग्जाम में ये क्वेश्चन पक्का आना, रट लो, इसको रट लेना, भूल नहीं जाना. If there is a CSS question for interview, this question is 100%. This question which I'm asking is 100%. It is called CSS box model. What is CSS box model? If interviewer is going to touch the CSS chapter, or CSS topic, this question is 100% guys. CSS box model. What is CSS box model? How can we use CSS box model? What is the benefit of it? Let's try and understand. CSS box model allows us to decide the overall positioning of the element on the page and with respect to other elements. This is what CSS box model does. Let me show you here how can we use this. So I can come here and put the box, and let me just go and make it empty like this. Right click, just a little bit of formatting in the word to explain how does it looks like. So just come here, line style, just say 40. Yeah, that made better. Now let's imagine this is what your HTML element. Okay, this is your HTML element. Now actual element is, let's say, inside here. This is your border of HTML element. So this is your actual HTML element. It could be a text, it could be a paragraph, it could be a H3 tag, it could be input field, whatever you wish to, it could be that. And then there is this border of the input field. Okay, around this you have a border. Now guys, the space between the actual HTML element and its border, this space is known as padding space. What it is known as, anybody? Again I repeat, what is this space between actual HTML element and its border? The space between actual HTML element and its border, what is it known as? It is known as padding space. Clear everybody? What space it is known as? It is known as padding space. The space between actual HTML element and its border is called padding space. Now, if you imagine there is another HTML element nearby. Okay, nearby. Now, the space between two consecutive HTML elements, what is this space known as? Anybody? What is this space? This space is known as margin. Okay, this space is known as margin. Here everybody, that's called CSS box model guys. On your screen, CSS box model, you can draw it anywhere, anytime, on any paper. That's called, it's so easy. सुनने में बहुत difficult लगता है. It's so easy. So it's actually telling you how the HTML element is positioned and displayed on the UI. So actual HTML element and its border, उसके बीच में जो space है, that's called padding space. And the two consecutive HTML elements, the space between them is called margin space, guys. I hope it is clear to everybody what is padding and what is margin space. Yeah, that is what exactly the difference. This is called CSS box model, and now we're going to use this box model to apply the amazing stuff on the page. So let's come back to the page. You can see guys, also if I just make it bigger, can you see the text is almost touching my border? Can you see my text is almost touching the border? Can you see guys, my text is almost touching the border? What to do? What to do to get some space between this text and its border? What to do to get some space between this text and its border? Anybody? What to do to get some space between the text and the border? Which property, which CSS property are we going to use to get some space between the text and the border? What to do? Anybody? What to do to bring some space between the text and border? Perfect answer. We got to add some padding. So let's go and add some padding now. So I'm going to go back, and now I'll say please add some padding in description. Five pixel padding I want. Let's come back. Watch out here. I just do a refresh, and voila, you can see guys, a 5 pixel padding has been added for the element. Yeah, can you see a 5 pixel padding has been added to the element? That's the beauty, guys. You can add some padding space to get some space between the border and the actual text. Earlier, this text was almost touching the border. There was no space. And now you got 5 pixel padding. This padding also introduced, yeah, this padding is also introduced some inconsistencies with respect to the height of the box. Let me increase the little bit more height of the box. Let's increase the height to maybe 120. Looks better in that way. And I can refresh, and now you see how beautiful your boxes looks like. Now my next question to all of you, how can I bring some space between all 3 boxes? Anybody, just now I told you the CSS box model. Which property are you going to use to add some space between these 3 boxes? Anybody? Perfect answer. Srinivas has got it right. Is the margin property. Let's go back and add some margin between the boxes. Do it at the box level, and I'm going to say please add some margin. I'm going to add a margin of 5 pixels. Save this. Let's come back and refresh the page. Voila! Wow! See, guys, how beautiful your page looks thanks to all CSS cascading styles. How beautiful your page looks. Earlier you saw how crude it was looking, your text, and now you see how beautiful your page looks like. Let me reduce the width of the page. And watch out the magic. The moment I reduce, you can see the boxes are moved down. It's a mobile screen. Increase the width, it looks tablet and looks desktop. See the beauty. That's called CSS box model. And you can also see that in the DOM. Right click, inspect the element. Look at the DOM of the element, and you can highlight any of the elements. So maybe I just go inside, highlight my box, and now you can see, guys, here on the right side, whatever box properties we gave on CSS, you can see all of them are available. So suppose I just kill the float. So I uncheck this and you see float is killed. All the boxes are coming in same line. Yeah, float is killed. It removed the float property. I add the float property, you see how it behaves. So you can just go to Chrome browser, go to style. You can also add, unadd. You can see these properties when I'm unchecking what is happening, how your boxes are behaving. That's all of the magic. And you see, this is your CSS box model. Yeah, yes, that's what Anubhav is teaching and Anubhav teaching, right? You can see CSS box model. That's your actual element, surrounded by padding, surrounded by border, surrounded by margin. That's the beauty. See, 5 pixel margin we added. We have added some padding. We have added some border of 1 pixel solid black border. That's the beauty, guys. This is exactly the CSS box model. The browser is also displaying you in the F12. So you can see style code. You can see the box model code. Just highlight your element and see the corresponding code on the right hand side for the CSS. That's the beauty of CSS. How can you check things up? Also the box model into the DOM directly. Highlight the element on the right side, you will be able to see. You can check uncheck the properties to see the impact also at runtime immediately. And now, guys, there's another feature. You can see here the button in the Chrome browser, toggle device toolbar. It converts your device into mobile. Click on that and you can see now which device you want it to be. I want an iPhone 6. How my application will look like in iPhone 6. That's what you can do. So this is how you can see your application can automatically, you can run in the device mode and see. This is actually used for mobile-like testing right into your desktop. That's another feature Chrome browser offers, toggle device toolbar. We're going to use this in Fiori also later point of time, but not right now. So that's also, you can check it. So you can see CSS. So F12 is your best friend. F12 will tell you a lot more things. Okay. So we saw right now the power of elements section, which shows you the tree structure, the DOM. We saw the power of network section, which shows you the calls which the client is making to the server. There is also one section called sources. Here you can see all the code what you have. You see we have my HTML file. You see this file got downloaded in the browser. Guys, remember, browser only understand HTML, CSS, JavaScript directly, and anything which you're running has to download in the browser. This HTML file got downloaded in my browser. That's why I'm able to see the content on the screen. So all the files which your server downloaded from server, they will be visible in the sources section. In the developer toolbar, in the sources section, you will see all the files which browser had downloaded from server. Okay, this all you will be able to see. So 3 important sections: elements, sources, and network. We have seen by far. As and when we go more deep into the sea, we will see more different types of fishes, whales, sharks, different types of species of fishes, starfish, and then we'll see all the types of jellyfish, all these things. More deep we go into the sea, more different variety and species we will see in the sea. Yeah, so hope you enjoyed today's class. That's the CSS. That's the basics of CSS. In the next session, we're going to go and apply more CSS. So now in the time for exercise for all of you, I'm going to add 3 images. Let me add 3 images here. I'm going to go back to your page. So I'm going to add 3 images as part of our page. I'm going to add an image tag. Let me add this image src property. Images flash. Can I add an image? I'm going to add 3 images and just double click here. Go to images folder. I'm going to import 3 images here. Let me import from my file system. I'm going to browse a couple of images. So I go one image here. So I just get an image called fighter. Now I'm going to get and import another image. Browse. Maybe my logo. I'm just going to go import an image. Browse. And machine learning. So I've got 3 images. Fighter, Kalpana, Fighter, my logo, and machine learning. 3 images I've got it. Yeah. So let's display these images here. So first comes is my logo. .png. Then fighter. .jpg. And then we have machine learning. .jpg. 3 images we got it. Save this. Let's come back and see the page. You can see my logo, a fighter plane, and a machine learning image. 3 images are coming on the page. I want you to align these images in a single row and just make it same size as my above box. Okay, that's an exercise. Let me write down so it will be more clear for all of you. So I want to align all 3 images in responsive manner and keep the size of image same as boxes kept on top. Okay, all 3 images, they should have same size, similar to the size of all 3 boxes which you have on the top, and it should be aligned automatically. That is what you should do. Let's see how many of you can achieve this exercise. Time for your questions. Let me take up the first question from chat window. What is the total pixel in a browser screen? Like 1000 pixels. It depends about your computer resolution and also depends on the size and the width of your computer screen. Some people have 13 inches monitor, some have 15 inches monitor, some has different width in terms of their resolution of the desktop. It depends on that. It is never fixed. Okay, that's why you can use when you the width and height of an control of an HTML element, we can use fixed pixel size, how much pixel it should take on screen, like 10 pixel or something. We can use percentage, how much percentage area it should take on the screen. Suppose I want also always relative. No matter what my screen size is, 20% of my screen size it should take. Yeah, you always better to use percentage to be able to give it the height of your property. Or the last one, you can use EM. Okay, EM, I don't know the full form, but it's better, it is bigger than pixel size. So let's come to EM, you can use. These are 3 ways you can give width and height. So if you want to give relative width and height, use percentage. Then what will happen? Your mobile, if you're running, it takes mobile ka 20% of the screen. If you're running on desktop, it takes desktop's ka size total pixel ka 20% on your desktop. So percentage based width and height always better. It gives consistent look across all devices to you. Okay, pixel is like you're fixing it up. In mobile, when it goes, it takes that much pixel. If in desktop, it takes that much pixel. So according to your total pixel size, again, it's relative only. but depending on the device, it takes that much of pixel of size. So that's how you can give it height. Okay. Next question. Hi Anubhav, can I write my code in other file? Yes, you can write your code in other file, no problem. It's your choice. I worked on index HTML. Yes, please, you should do that. The way I did it, I am separating it clearly in another file. Similarly, you should also do it, Yamini. It's better to write your code in always other files and use run configuration to run it. Okay. Okay, I want to create other file, work on it, but HTML tags not working. The reason is very simple, Yamini. You have not right clicked, you have not gone to run configuration and not selected your file to run. You have to choose your correct file which you wish to run, Yamini, then only it is going to run. So if you are not changing here in the run configuration your file path, it will not run. So please check your run configuration. I'm sure it will work. Yesterday we saw. So one of our friend was facing an issue. We saw that he was actually not keeping the run configuration proper. Okay, that could be the reason it's not working for you. Any other questions on the line? Your lines are open. You can unmute and ask your question, please.
Hi, Anubhav.
Hey, hi, Madhu. Can you hear me, Madhu?
Hello, Anubhav. Is it
Yeah.
audible?
Yes, please. Yes, file must end with .html. Yes, Yamini, you're right. File must end with extension .html. That's when system will know it's an HTML file. Correct. You're right. Okay. Any questions? Anybody on the line before we close today's class? Cool. No questions. So let's catch you up tomorrow at the same time. Have a nice day.